thoughts on your draw? And I know you've seen Arkansas a long time ago. Can you take anything away from that, or was that too long ago?
Well, they're a different team, obviously, and we'll be a different team. You know, Hunter didn't suit in that game, but you know, a lot of pride depends for them on health situation and how those two guys are from a health standpoint. But it's a hard draw, but you deserve a hard draw. I mean, you know, you're a 7 seed. You're going to play a team that's similar to you, regardless, and then you're going to have to play a team that's had one of the best years in the country in the second game, regardless if it was Arkansas, regardless if it was St. John's. Yeah, it's a hard draw, but that's the position that certainly that we're in, and every other 7 seed is in. But one, I'm you know, I like it. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun.
What do you think your players' headspace is like right now?
From today or from I think we've had 2 good practices. We practiced yesterday and we practiced today, and tomorrow will be an off day, and then we'll practice Tuesday and Wednesday. But I think we're actually in a pretty good place. You know, we're not totally healthy because of Shaq, but we're you know, we've been pretty fortunate that we're relatively healthy, and so I don't see any signs of us not being in a good place right now.
And then any thoughts on playing in Providence, a place you guys haven't been before?
I've actually been there.
Oh.
Yeah, my Tulsa team played in the building, so which will really go a long ways to meaning a lot. You know, 30 years later. But I'm fine with it. To be real candid with you, I think it's okay to get away from here. So that way there can be less distractions. I actually think that's okay. So you know, if we were playing as a 2 seed in Wichita, that's different. But if you're not going to be one of the top 4 seeds playing close to home, I think it's fine to go away.
Bill over here, just facing John Calipari, which you've done so many times, and just what is it about facing a John Calipari team that always stands out, even though you face him in different locations, and this year being Arkansas?
I think, you know, to me, he's always created, you know, recruited great players and terrific athletes. I think they do a good job coaching them too, and I think they usually guard. And I'm sure they'll do that, and they're battle tested, obviously, going through the grind of the SEC. But yeah, it'll be a fun competitive game. I know we're going to have to play really well to win, and I believe they're going to have to play well to win too. So you know, we've gone against each other quite a bit over time, but I don't believe we've ever gone against each other except in 2 really big games in the NCAA tournament. And we split those. It'll be a much talked about matchup, I assume.
And different, obviously, than 2 years ago when you faced Arkansas and you weren't able to make it. And KJ and DeJuan played in those games. When you see Arkansas, you know, personnel aside, do they immediately think back to that and think to themselves, oh,
you know what? That's the first time I thought of it. You know, I'll be honest with you, I really don't even remember that tournament. I was so out of it 2 years ago. So I'd like to say I remember, but I really don't. I know that we had a chance late and didn't make a couple of plays, and they made a couple, but well, they ended up beating us by 1 or 3 or something like that. But I'll be honest with you. After I went down in that Big 12 tournament, I really don't remember much about that year whatsoever. So that you bringing it up, thank you so much. It brings back a lot of fond memories.
Coach, everybody talks about, the college kids today, they don't appreciate it, they're just playing for the money. This is March Madness. I mean, I would think that you've got everybody's attention.
First of all, I don't believe the thinking out there, if that's the thinking, but I can certainly understand how it would be. It's the same thing. You have a professional athlete sign a max contract and he doesn't seem to deliver the next year, you automatically think he's not as competitive, or he's lost interest, or he's complacent. And sometimes you try really hard and you prepare really well and it just doesn't work out. I think the kids care a ridiculous amount. I know my guys do, and especially with the 4 seniors that this is their, this is going to be their last time to throw it up and lace it up in college, and we know that for a fact because none of them can come back. There's no safety net, so I think it means a lot to all of them. But I do agree with the narrative that it can look different from a fan's perspective or from a public's perspective, but I don't think the kids have changed. I think the circumstances around the kids have changed so much, and there's so many other influences around the players that's different than what it was 10 years ago. But I don't think the kids have changed. I still think they care. I still think they try. They want to be better. They want to be coached. There's a lot of positive things about them, but there's some things about the situation that maybe impacts others around them, which could then create an influence over them at some point in time. So I'm fortunate. I got a good group and a good group of families, but the appearance is there. But it's not because they don't care. It's just because when they don't play well, that's the narrative that people like putting on it.
Bill, you mentioned those 4 seniors and not having that safety net after this week. Do you expect them to play with a different sense of urgency, knowing that?
I would expect that. I would expect everybody would, regardless of what school you're playing for. But certainly with Zeke and Juan and Hunt and KJ, I would expect whatever our max has been to this point, I expect it to be at least 10% more.
And 7 seed is the lowest you've had a team here at Kansas. Do you think
It's the
justified?
lowest seed that I've had in 26 years. Yeah, but trust me on this, whether you're a 3 or a 7 or a 10 or whatever you are, there could be an advantage is playing a team that could be maybe a 15 or 16 that obviously you may have more depth or more size or more talent in the first round game. But after that game, you gotta win 5 games against people that are all really good. In this particular situation, if you're not a 1 or a 2, you got to win 6 games against people that are all really good. And there's been a lot of teams that are not 1 and 2s that strung together a pretty good run. So it doesn't make for there's no easy path, but certainly we didn't do ourselves any favors by being inconsistent throughout the season.
How did Tulsa do in Providence?
Great. We played Rhode Island University, all right, and got off to a 15-0 start in the very first game of the season. So it was a hell of a way to start the season, and I could give you the stat of that game too if you'd be interested. But yeah, we actually fared pretty well there.
And what was your seed 26 years ago?
I think at Tulsa, I think we were 7 when we went to Elite 8, if I'm not mistaken. So
The committee sent Illinois to Milwaukee. They sent Louisville to Lexington. Could they have sent you to Wichita? And do you think they should have?
I haven't studied that. I was kind of surprised Missouri got sent to Wichita, considering Texas Tech is going to have to play them in if both teams win, if the higher seeds win. I would be very. You're telling me that Louisville is sent to Lexington?
Yeah. Yep.
And if they win, they got Auburn, and Auburn's got to play Louisville in Lexington? That shocks me. And then the other one was Illinois to Milwaukee, which is
As a 6 seed.
as a 6 seed, and the 3 seed there is who?
Iowa State.
Huh?
I think it's Iowa State.
Yeah, well, that or the Iowa State will travel regardless. So that'll probably be a 50-50, and that's TJ's hometown. So I would say I'm more shocked by the former with Louisville playing potentially Auburn in Lexington.
But no anger on your part that.
No, I'll be honest with you, I like Bruce Pearl a lot, but I'm not really thinking about that game, that particular time. So, we didn't deserve to be playing in Wichita, so there's absolutely, no thought that would actually occur. But I am shocked that it did happen that way in Lexington.
This is way down the road, but will you enjoy seeing Zuby?
Yeah, I'm sure if I see him, I'll give him a big hug and everything. Of course, we love Zuby. We didn't want him to leave, but those things all changed when Hunt came. But yeah, he's had an unbelievable year, and it sounds like to me, Coach Patino thinks the world of him. But yeah, we'll be excited to see him. But I'll only be excited if we get a chance to play him.
Bill, Zeke's talked a lot over the course of the season about being from Lawrence, playing for his hometown school, which is how cool do you think it is that he's going to have the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament for his hometown team?
Well, I think it's, I don't look at it that way. I think it is cool that he gets a chance to play in his home team, but when he signed to come here, the way I looked at it, it was a given we're going to play in the NCAA tournament. So it's been, what, 32 or 33 years in a row, is that right? What's it been? 35 years in a row. So I don't know that I look at it as cool to play for Kansas because they're in the tournament. I look at it as just cool that he gets a chance to play for Kansas. So
the idea of this team and where you're at right now, Hunter said he feels like you have confidence. Do you feel that same thing from your guys?
yeah, guys, we played some really good teams. I mean, in our last, 7 games, you know, hey, Texas Tech is good. They're a 3 seed, and they beat us on a day where they had all their players, and they didn't have all their players after they played us and everything. I'm talking about Williams and McMillan, obviously. And then we played Houston. They're really good. They're a 1 seed. And then we beat Arizona. They're really good. They're a 4 seed. And then we lose to Arizona without any excuses whatsoever. But you know, that game the night before Arizona probably didn't help our chances against Arizona just because of the way it all went down. But I think that in the last 2 weeks, in all honesty, I think we played pretty well. We didn't play bad against Arizona the other day. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it a tie game, whatever, with 4 minutes left? Or I mean, so we were right there. We just didn't finish like we need to.
You also have mentioned a minute ago, inconsistency. You've said it all year. Your players have said it all year. Is there anything you can do in the next 2-3 days or heading into this postseason to, you know, dial in a more consistent approach, dumb things down? And do you look at it that way at all, or just to strive for that consistency, or is it too late for that? Or
well, it's a great question, and you wouldn't be actually in the media doing what you're doing now if you could figure that secret sauce out. So I really don't know on consistency. We'll practice the same things. We'll go over everything. I do think when you say dumb it down, I don't know that I would use that term, but maybe simplify some things that would make it where, okay, on this week we know we're running these 12 plays. And could do that based on watching Arkansas, and if that's the case, what we'll come up with will be something that we'll have all figured out by tomorrow.
you've done that before?
Oh yeah.
Coach, we asked you about the players. How excited are you about March Madness? You've been in a bunch of them. You had that year you had to sit out. You talked last year about how much you meant to be back in it.
Oh, I get really excited about it. I'll be honest with you. This is the probably the most inconsistent feelings that I've had going through a season that I can remember. You get excited and then you get kind of not quite as excited and all that stuff. So the inconsistency from our play has created maybe inconsistency in an adrenaline or excitement level, I think, even for coaches. Even though you still coach the next play, you still coach the next game. But when you're on a roller coaster, it takes a little bit out of everybody. I think the one thing about the NCAA tournament, everybody's 0-0. It's a fresh start for everybody. Anything that's happened up until this point, you know, it's relevant, but nobody's gonna remember. You look at it, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Connecticut have to win 5 games in the Big East tournament to get in, and then they win 6 more in a row and win the national championship? Now, granted, they had Kimba, but isn't there examples of stuff all the time? If I'm not mistaken, VCU's players went home because they didn't think they could get in, and they had to call them back to practice the year they beat us in the Elite Eight to go to Final Four.
1988 Kansas team, I covered that Big 8 tournament.
They-
There's no way you picked them.
Kansas team in 1988 was 12-8 in January, all right? And that's playing a good non-conference schedule, but not exactly the quality of a conference schedule. And then they get hot. Of course, they also had the equivalent of Kimba on the interior and Danny. So your question is good, but I think right now everybody's got to be stoked and ready to go right now.
What surprised you today? The fact they put you in the West?
Nothing surprised me. I didn't have any anticipation, but I told my staff a week ago, you watch 7 versus 10, we're playing Arkansas. So you could ask any of them. I've been saying that for a week. I thought today surprised me when Louisville went to an 8 and UCLA was a 7, that opened up an opportunity maybe to be a 6, but then Memphis jumped us because they went from an 8 to a 5 because they won the tournament. So that kind of leveled that out. But nothing surprised me much today.
All right, Coach, thank you.
All right, guys.